I find it as an entrepreneur so important to celebrate rather than always focusing on the next challenge, because I love those steep learning curves. I love challenges is the truth of it, but I also really have to pause to acknowledge where we've come. And it's true, it's in many ways the business model I chose is actually slow and organic, sustainable growth. Like, I launched this thing in 2014, so we're 6 years in almost. And it's really taken until the last year where I've really seen it accelerate and become more supportive to me and more sustainable. But we chose not to take any outside investment and just kind of basically just constantly reinvest and start slow and really, build the supply chain, kind of have the social impact built into the model from the very beginning. Like it was never about making money. It was about the impact we were having and creating the balance for me as an entrepreneur. So kind of keeping that balance we talked about earlier. But at this point, we've grown to sourcing from about 1,000 cacao farmers. What's really cool is that all of these are tiny cacao farms. They're like 2 acres a piece. So you can imagine the incredible logistics behind getting cacao off of these tiny farms, all of which have been organic certified. And then getting the cacao properly fermented, so that we can produce what we do. It's just an incredible undertaking, and that's our partnerships really enable that, and it does come from people valuing cacao. I actually think that cacao we offer is an incredibly good deal. We could easily charge 50% more for what we do, and people would buy it, but I am also acutely aware that we serve people, who have very little access, who use this as medicine. This week I was corresponding with somebody who's a truck driver, and she was just so eagerly awaiting her cacao, but she's continuing to work amidst this crisis that we're in, and just needing the heart opening, needing the support from the plant. And so I see again and again, I'm humbled how people will choose their last $100 and spend it on cacao. And that's where scaling has been a really big part of my personal vision for working with cacao, is because I want to make it accessible to the people. Like this is medicine. And yes, we could charge a lot more, but at the price we do, I know that's sustainable for the business if we reach the right scale. And we can have incredible social impact just by doing business, by affecting all of those 1,000 farmers, by basically giving them a good price and a bright future. I mean, both of the previous startups I worked at were actually focused on emerging economies and supplying solar power to people without access to any electricity, really, using batteries and kerosene lighting. So people who could benefit from solar power the most. And that just, it really helped me understand, how little so many people have. And if we can basically heal this planet, the way to heal this planetary crisis is by rebuilding the connections and by not letting any single person down or any ecosystem down in our supply chain. And there absolutely are ways to build that into a pricing model and make it accessible to people. So that's where I'm really, really grateful for my engineering expertise. I came out of school with an undergraduate and graduate degree in mechanical engineering, and so I've built a lot of our own tools, and that's actually what's really exciting for me about getting to build our own chocolate factory now. And that's kind of the vision, is that we're moving towards building the first chocolate factory in the US that is dedicated to 100% cacaos. I mean, every single business advisor I asked was like, you can't do that. Like, you should, first of all, focus on wholesale, don't focus on direct to consumer. Like, and this 100% cacao thing is a fringe thing. It's never going to grow. And now we're growing faster than a lot of our chocolate making peers, because I think we're providing real value by connecting to what's actually like the innate nature of this plant, which is that it's medicinal, and that it brings people together. It builds community, and I can't say how many times, like I can't imagine being an entrepreneur without cacao. Like it gives me the courage, like all those amazing molecules that help me feel good. They make me resilient. Like they help me get up the next day when I face some sort of crisis, and like, okay, we're going to figure this out. We're going to get through this too. And it keeps happening. And that builds trust in myself and trust in the team that we have, that we can pretty much overcome anything and get through anything, because we have this ritual practice to self-renew and to support each other, and get creative with whatever challenges we're facing. So yeah, the community of folks that we're reaching all over the country, and I think we've shipped to 50 countries now at this point too. So it's really becoming a global thing, is supporting us to build this really amazing chocolate factory, which, you know, the whole thing is centered around treating cacao with respect. So that's going to be built into the foundation of this building, into the land that we're working on. Is this model for respect, and that'll just make the medicine even better. So we start creating these positive feedback cycles, which get really exciting, and our suppliers are stoked because, you know, basically they keep telling us, buy more cacao from us, we can have more social impact from the cacao, where we're just ushering in this whole new supply chain that's actually respectful, versus cacao as a commodity, which, you know, if you think about it, goes back to the colonial era, when Europeans first came to America and were like, oh my goodness, resources, let's cut down the trees in the rainforest, let's exploit the people as slaves, let's take these tropical goods, be it sugar or cacao, and bring them back for our benefit. And we're 500 years later, and we're still kind of living on this parasitic model. And unfortunately, that's kind of how I view the chocolate industry, is kind of as this dinosaur that's still around, very much like the oil industry, you know, that's just doing things in this really bad way. And we need to shift out of that.
Hey there, I want to give you something really big. It's called Clear Path to Customers. It's the way that we get the right language to get the right client. I like to call them your wow clients, so that you can have more results, more revenue, more raving fans, and more referrals. And I want to give this to you absolutely free. And all you have to do is go to stevenapolitan.com to check it out, or you can look at the description here. We'll put the details there. As always, remember, choose gratitude and create freedom.